Witam serdecznie w kolejnym odcinku Broken Sword. Muszę sobie przypomnieć, gdzie to ostatnio skończyliśmy i co tu zrobić, bo dawno nie grałem. Myślę, że można by sprawdzić miejscówkę tutaj. Chyba nic się tutaj nie zmieniło jeszcze.
Hello again, officer.
Hello again, monsieur.
I'll see.
Oui,
Nie wiem, może do muzeum zajrzeć?
You have left it very late, monsieur.
Late for what?
Anything? I am closing the museum soon. You wouldn't like to get locked in. I can tell you. Not in this gallery.
Why not?
It is haunted, monsieur.
You don't believe in ghosts, surely.
Oh, yes, I do. 7 years ago, a lad managed to hide in here. He made a bet with his friends, I suppose. When I found him in the morning, he was cold as ice and stiff as a board.
Well, what was the cause of death?
They said it was a brain tumor. But on his face was a look of stark, desperate terror such as I have never seen before.
Scary. Forget it.
Okej, zagadajmy tego gościa, może coś się dowiemy nowego.
Hi, Andre.
Hello, Georgie.
Have you ever heard of the Hashashin?
Why, yes, it was a radical Muslim sect whose name became synonymous with murder. It was formed in 11th century Persia, shortly before the Crusades.
At roughly the same time as the Templars.
Yes, they gave a new word to our language, Assassini, the assassins.
How did the assassins get their name?
From the legend surrounding the secrets of their initiation rites. A young man who sought to join the sect was given hashish until he drifted into dreams. He awoke to find himself in a fabulous garden with everything he could wish for. The freshest water, the most delicious food, the choicest hash, and the most delectable women imaginable.
Cool. Do you have the address?
I haven't finished the story. There was a price to pay for this taste of paradise.
Wouldn't you just know it?
The young man would wake the next day to find himself back in the real world. He was told that he'd been given a glimpse of the heaven reserved for holy martyrs. A heaven he would enjoy for eternity if he was willing to join the Hashashin.
How did the assassins operate?
Well, as I explained, the new recruits would be only too willing to die for the cause. They'd be instructed in the use of the dagger, poisons, and disguise. Then the Grand Master of the sect would name an enemy of Allah.
And they'd stop at nothing to eliminate that enemy.
You got it. They were fearless and deadly.
Does the cult of the assassins still exist?
Take a look around at the world today. You tell me.
What can you tell me about Philippe le Bel?
He was responsible for the extermination of the Knights Templar.
I know that, but why was Philip so hot to get rid of them?
Mostly because he wanted to get his hands on their treasure. He had an enormous debt and a lifelong war with England to fund. The trouble was, the Templars were a highly respected holy order.
If the Templars were so powerful, how did this Philippe dude wipe them out?
By underhanded, dishonorable means, of course. The Pope was Clement V, a Frenchman.
French, huh? Handy for Philippe.
Fate had nothing to do with it. He was Philippe's puppet, planted to further his political ambitions. Philippe wanted the wealth of the Templars and used Clement to get it.
So what was Philippe's plan? What happened?
Sealed orders were sent out all over France, not to be opened until the appointed day. That day was Friday, July 13th. That's the origin of our superstition regarding that date. At dawn, throughout the whole of France, the Templars were arrested. It was the biggest bust in the history of the world.
What happened to the Templars after their arrest?
Philippe was out for blood, so he handed the Templars over to the Inquisition. Not surprisingly, they confessed to a sensational and sordid list of blasphemies.
Like what?
Oh, the sort of things you read about in the gutter press. Devil worship, lewd sexual practices, spitting on the Holy Cross, that kind of thing.
Well, that must have given their lawyers some headaches.
Whether or not the accusations were true, this was not good publicity. Most of the charges were probably cooked up, but so were the Templars, literally. Hundreds of them were found guilty of heresy and flamed grilled at the stake. They died protesting their innocence.
But surely Philippe had no proof of his charges against the Templars.
A man will admit anything under torture. The Inquisition fabricated some nonsensical demon called Baphomet, and then suggested to their victims that this was what they worshipped.
But they didn't have to agree.
The records show a Templar coming to trial with both feet burnt off. Fragments of flesh and charred bone falling from the stumps. What would you not admit to stop such torment?
So there was no truth at all in the Baphomet accusations?
Not a shred. Almost every victim described the idol differently. No, Baphomet never existed outside the sick minds of the Inquisitors.
So Philippe stole the Templars' riches, huh?
Oh no, they weren't stupid. The king's troops marched first on the temple in Paris, then to the Templar home port at La Rochelle. There was no trace of the treasure, and the fleet of the Knights Templar had set sail.
I think you ought to know that the tripod is going to be stolen.
The Lochman tripod? No.
It's true. I can give you a description of the thieves.
Before the supposed event has taken place?
I heard them planning the raid.
They're wasting their time. The tripod is protected by a state-of-the-art alarm system.
Well, don't say I didn't warn you. Why don't you loan the tripod to me for safekeeping?
Because I'd never see it again.
Well, don't you trust me?
It's not a question of trust, George. That tripod is hundreds of years old and extremely fragile.
I get your point. Thanks for your help, Andre.
You're welcome.
Dobra, trochę ciekawostek się dowiedzieliśmy. A teraz musimy schować się. No,
Please do not open the window, monsieur.
tak to nie zadziała.
kind of stuffy in here?
Better stuffy than dead.
What's the problem? Fumes from car exhausts?
Not just that, monsieur. There's a new burger bar opened up across the street. The Laughing Buffalo.
So what's the problem?
They cook their burgers on a charcoal grill, and the fat falls on the open flames. The amount of organic compound and smoke particles released is astounding. Since they opened, local air pollution has doubled, and it stinks like a funeral pyre. That is why I keep the windows closed.
Dobra, musimy poczekać, aż, nie wiem, ten gość sobie pójdzie, ale... Że tak, żeby nie widział tego, że uchylamy to okno. Więc chwilę zaczekamy. Może teraz się uda?
The rod turned smoothly, and the window above me opened.
Dobra, i chodźmy tutaj szybko. Szybko. No i nie zdążę. Aha, udało się.
It is closing time, Monsieur Lobineau.
Already, there just aren't enough hours in the day.
More than enough for me. I can't wait to get home and put my feet up.
Eh bien, see you tomorrow.
Good night, Monsieur.
Dobra, teraz trzeba uważać w tej sekcji, bo można tutaj zginąć.
Hey, Guido! Look at this!
Quit fooling around, you moron! Get your ass over here and bring that flashlight. What the? Who's there?
Let's get out of here!
Świetny plan, panie Stobart.
And when I woke up, I was at the police station. Luckily, I managed to persuade Rosso I was innocent.
Poor Georges.
What a mess. I bungled the whole thing.
I don't think so. You made a pretty good job of distracting those two crooks.
Yeah, but the killer got away with the tripod.
No, he didn't. He's not the only one who can dress up in costume.
You mean... it was you who stole the tripod? Oh, hell, Nico. I could have been shot.
Those dogs are more likely to shoot their own feet.
I just wish you'd told me your plans. We're supposed to be in this together. And how come you dressed up like a pantomime cat?
Don't sulk, Georgie, please.
Oh, rats. And don't call me Georgie.
Oh, I really thought you'd be pleased. After all, we've got the tripod. Aren't you going to try putting the gem on the tripod?
I guess so. Nothing happened.
Yeah.
The gem fits perfectly, but what does that prove?
Maybe the tripod has to be in a certain location.
There's nothing on the manuscript to indicate where, though, is there?
Oh, by the way, I had a visit from André Lobineau.
Oh, yeah. I hope you didn't mind me giving him your address.
Not at all. It was lovely to see him again. He was over the moon when I showed him the manuscript. It's not often he gets that excited. He made a sketch of the knight's crest to take back to the museum. I believe he's identified the family who bear that crest.
I sure hope so. Lobineau explained who the Hashashin were.
Yeah?
The cult of the assassins.
Oh, boy!
I have to go.
Already? You only just arrived.
Time and tide wait for no man.
Okay, I'll see you later.
Dobra, i gdzie teraz możemy się udać? Może w końcu tam, gdzie ten policjant siedzi. No, wreszcie jest, kurczę, klaun.
Hello again, officer.
Hello again, monsieur.
I'll see you around.
Oui, monsieur.
Hey, you with the balls.
Oui?
How did you learn to be a juggler?
Juggler? What is this juggler?
It's you. You juggle, that makes you a juggler.
No, I am a jongleur.
A jongler? What's that?
Mon Dieu. A jongleur is an artist, a master of the contragravitic aeroballetic mysteries. In centuries past, the courts of the crowned heads of Europe had the jongleurs, witty, erudite men to whom the monarchs turned in their hours of need.
Wait a minute, wait. Let me get this straight. Our enemies are at the borders, plague ravages the land, and the peasants are revolting. Thank God we've got Chuckles the Jongler to throw his balls around. I don't think so. That juggling doesn't look so difficult.
Oh, it does not, does it not? Perhaps you feel you could do better, no?
I'll give it a try.
Be my guest.
I had no idea what I was doing. But this guy was obviously an idiot, so how difficult could it be? A lot more difficult than I thought. That's how difficult. Still, it was my big chance to be derided by complete strangers.
Not so easy after all, is it?
No, I guess not. Catch you later.
Au revoir, monsieur.
Dobra, spróbujmy jeszcze raz pogadać z tym gościem. Może coś tu jest? Czy powinno być?
Hello again, officer.
Hello again, monsieur.
What do you think of the juggler?
Ah, he is excellent, most watchable.
But he's blocking the thoroughfare and obstructing traffic.
So? He is amusing. The traffic isn't. If he wants to block it, who am I to say no?
You're a cop.
Ah, oui. So I am. Ah, well.
So you're not going to do anything about this guy?
No.
He probably doesn't even have a license.
Ah, a license. This I had not considered.
So what are you going to do?
The instant I return to the station, I shall check.
Return to the station? Why not just ask him?
And spoil his concentration? What kind of a barbarian do you take me for?
Does this red nose mean anything to you?
Ah, you are a clown.
Do I look like a clown?
No, although you juggle like one. Now, if I'd known you were a clown, it would have been amusing. And not a humiliation for you.
What do you mean?
Who ever heard of a plainclothes clown?
He had a point. So you're saying that if I juggle badly with a red nose, I'd be the king of comedy. But if I juggle badly without it...
You look like a pathetic loon. Oui, monsieur, you have it.
Żelazna logika.
Does this red nose mean anything to you?
No.
I'll see you around.
Oui, monsieur.
Dobrze, no to pożonglujmy z nosem w takim razie.
Hi again.
Oui? What is it this time?
Look, a red nose.
Oh, you say, whoop-de-doo.
I'd like to have another try at juggling, please.
You have gone on a crash course, perhaps.
No, I just had an insight into presentation.
Huh?
Allow me to demonstrate. The balls, please.
If you insist on completing your humiliation, monsieur.
Okay, now for my secret weapon. The juggler was speechless with rage. You could have mistaken him for a mime. And without a word, he collected his balls and left in a fury. Hey! You forgot one of your balls! Hey! But he didn't hear. Better still, deprived of his entertainment, the gendarme decided maybe he ought to do some policing for a change.
No i o to chodziło. Dobra, można się w takim razie zabrać za buszowanie po kanałach. Zamiast odstawiać cyrk, to zabierzmy się do pracy.
There were 3 arches, each with an inscription. The wall had flaked, and anything once written on it had long since gone. The wall had flaked, and anything once written on it Hey! That's hollow! It was time for some brutal destruction. Close up, I could see the plaster was thinner where I'd broken through, and behind it were some cogs and a lever. Here goes. Hey, cool! Inside the hole, I could see one of the cogs had come loose and jammed the mechanism solid. The hook was held rigidly by the tightly wound chain. The hook was held rigid.
Dobra, trzeba to poluzować chyba w takim razie. No nie, no nie. Nie, no bierz to z powrotem. No i fajnie, można iść dalej. Dobra, tutaj nic nie zrobimy. I teraz pierwsza sprawa jest taka, że nie schodzimy schodami w dół absolutnie. Tylko zaglądamy tutaj przez okienko. Nie schodzimy, bo zginiemy po prostu, nie? To jest chyba jasne.
In the beginning was the end.
An end wrought by our enemies began our darkness.
In the end will be a beginning.
An end to our enemies heralds our new day.
Report. The military establishments are in flux. The end of the Cold War has left them with no clear goal and as obvious targets for budgetary cuts. We have successfully promoted a sense of betrayal in the upper echelons. They feel that the politicians have cast them adrift. The pattern is emerging. Our time is now.
Good. Mademoiselle?
Governments are giving the corporations more respect than their own citizens. A groundswell of dissatisfaction and dissidence is growing. The corporations are becoming too large and complex for their own executives to control them. A blind belief in market forces is accelerating this trend the world over. The pattern is emerging. Our time is now.
The global population's belief in those that govern it has never been lower. We have inculcated a sense of immediacy and action over forethought and planning in all the major governments. They are acting on hasty decisions that cannot be completed or revoked without appearing foolish. The pattern is emerging. Our time is now.
Excellent. The tired old governments are dying a slow death from their own incompetence and our machinations. The millennium is almost upon us, and everything is in place for the rise of our new order. Almost. Professor, where is the broken sword?
As we discussed last time, with the loss of the manuscript, our search is as a corollary hindered.
And as discussed last time, you have been furnished with a dramatically increased budget. What have you been doing with our money, Professor?
We are working on the principle that the Templars, that is to say our predecessors,
Hold on. These are the Templars?
must have left a trail when they were hiding the clues to the sword of Baphomet's location. I have a small army of historians and archaeologists ferreting out that trail.
I trust these historians and archaeologists are more trustworthy than your friend Pegram.
Pegram was loyal. He tried to protect the Lochmarn gem when the Hashashin came near.
And failed. And don't call that Syrian maniac the Hashashin. He's an assassin. Plain and simple.
That's not what he believes. He actually thinks.
Silence! Do I have to remind you that we have a sacred duty? A trust? When Philippe attempted to destroy the order, we lost the sword and our power with it. Now we have the opportunity to reforge it. But time is short. We need results, not petty bickering, not excuses. Now, Professor Baphomet.
Yes, of course, my apologies. We will find Baphomet and the sword, manuscript or no. We have already found another element actually within Paris.
Excellent. What is it?
Well, we're not exactly sure at present.
Ha!
But I have my best people working on it. You would do well not to criticize others, Eklund. At least I have not murdered one of our own.
Of course. That guy was the bogus doctor in the hospital.
Marquet was a liability. Eklund dealt with him on my orders.
I beg your pardon, Grandmaster. I did not mean to.
Have you any good news for us, Professor?
We already know 3 of the elements. We know that Klausner had obtained the lens before he vanished.
Where was he?
Syria. We know that he arrived, but after that, nothing.
The assassin.
I fear so. It's a shame. Klausner was a good operative.
No i taka to draka. Taka draka, także wracajmy, zanim nas dopadną. Zobaczymy sobie, gdzie można teraz pójść. I chyba skończymy na tym odcinek. Do muzeum. Można do Niko. Posterunek i co? A polecieć gdzie można? Nigdzie nie można. Dobra, no to pójdziemy chyba, nie wiem, do Niko. Opowiedzieć o tym, co tu się wydarzyło. Dobra, ale to w następnym odcinku może już zobaczymy sobie. Także dziękuję za oglądanie i do następnego. Cześć.